Hi, it's Mateusz from Tactplan. Today I would like to show you how to make your life easier by visual planning, for instance on the flowline view. I would like to show you how to use specific functionalities of Tactplan, for instance defining locations and durations, to make your plan more organized and to make it more compact and more feasible. In order to do this, let's start from the beginning. So we have a blank schedule. First, let's define some locations. I will give to my project some buildings and some floors. My project has like 4 buildings and 5 floors per each building. Then let's move to the network view. I'm creating like a couple of tasks here. And then just simple finish start dependencies. My tasks are very simple, so let's give them some names. This is our super simple schedule. We have structure, facade, installations, fit outs, and handover process in the end. Let's assume that our structure takes 120 days. Then our facade takes 60 days. Then our installations take 180 days. Fit out takes 240 days. And handover takes 80 days. Just guessing. We will see what happens then. Let's also assume that, for instance, our installations, or maybe start with fit out. So let's imagine that our buildings have technical flaws on the top. So I'm removing fit outs from the technical flaws. All top flaws are switched off. You will be able to see it in the visual part soon. And then let's assume maybe that the duration now is distributed evenly, so 12 days per each floor. But let's assume that we have some very special fit out on the ground floors, always on the first floor. So let's assume that it's 20 days per each. And let's assume that since we have a technical flaws on the top of each building, that also these parts require more work for installations. So what we have now, just this couple of tasks, of course, within the defined locations, not all the tasks in all locations, and by default they are, as you can see here, evenly distributed across the location, but we have those zigzags here. Here we have our buildings and floors, and here we have structure, facade, and installations, fit outs, and handover process. As you can see, the tasks is flowing through the locations across our project, and the tasks are also respecting the dependencies between them. What they also do, they try to be not interrupted if possible. So for instance, this facade crew can work continuously, which is the most optimal way for crews to work, just to start, go through the locations and finish. And of course we can fill this gap here if we would like to start it earlier, and we can do what usually is being done on standard critical path Gantt charts. So we just switch off the spaced functionality, and as you can see, it looks very nice. Everything moved left, it's tighter packed, but because it's as soon as possible, you can see that there's lots of interruptions of this work. So it will not happen this way, and probably it would be very frustrating for the crew to operate this way. What we can do better here, even if it's counterintuitive, I will show you that it works. We can change the duration of this task, but not for shorter, but for longer. So let's see. I will just scroll this view so we can see the ending of the whole project in April, and I will change this duration from 60 to 90 days. And I'm pressing enter. And as you can see, the whole project has now we have just saved 1 month, even by extending the duration of the facade by 50%. And this happens because now the structure and facade is a little bit more orchestrated. And of course we can move forward. We can just put 120 days here. Now it's even 1 month more. Of course, it would probably not happen like this, that just after structure we create facade. So we can just, in the dependencies gap, we can just create a location delay, like for instance, 3 locations. So now we have 3 locations of the structure ready before the first location of facade starts. So that would be probably the optimal solution. And then you can see still that we have almost 2 months shorter than initially designed sequence. We could do the same here. For instance, if we can see that those tasks are moving the slower pace that those on the left, we can of course speed them up. We can make them like more crews, and maybe it will be possible to make this work. Sorry, not this direction. To make it shorter. So for instance, 150 days. But of course, sometimes it's not possible. So maybe we can just split this assignment. So we have building 1, building 2, and we can just split it here on half for 2 crews. The same for the fit outs. And now we have again a little tighter packed everything. Last but not least, maybe as you can see here, we have empty space, and again we can identify places where nothing happens. So maybe handover is also one of the tasks which can be divided. So let's assume that the building number 1 is handover here. So we have now, instead of April, we have December. So we have like a couple of months shorter, and then building number 1 is ready even quicker. That's how it works when you visualize the flow through the locations on your project, that you can identify the potential gaps and idle time. You can also identify, for instance, if I add just another task, and maybe for some reason it happens like this, maybe another one, then it goes like this. Then you can see we have some collisions, and we can identify when tasks overlap and the same place at the same time. We have 2 different crews. That is also very beneficial way of using visual planning methods. If you find this interesting, please visit our webpage and test it by yourself. And see you soon. Bye.